A very, very good morning to you all, and welcome to March. This is crazy. To channel my inner Chandler Bing, could it be any more different to last year? My goodness, it is kind of crazy. This time last year, I was sitting here in a thermal t-shirt, a long sleeve t-shirt, a jumper, a hoodie, my thick jacket, scarf, gloves, hat. We had snow. We had the beast from the east. I'm sure any of you, especially outside of the UK, any of you who follow any of sort of the gardening channels or such like at the moment, I'm sure we are all mentioning the contrast between now and this time last year and that wee beastie. It's been gorgeous. It's kind of mildly worrying because it won't have killed any slugs and snail eggs this year, and also what's it mean for the rest of the year? Well, who knows? We just have to do what we can, work the best we can, and deal with whatever Mother Nature throws at us. So I'm going to take you all down the garden in a second. Oh, quick slip of water. Quick cuddle with Poppy. Can you hear her purring? It's so cute. Hey Poppy. Yes, a quick little tour around the garden. It's not a huge amount of change, and this is the month where for the whole of March not much is going to happen in the garden. It's April, it's the beginning of April where we hit the ground running and we don't stop for the whole of April and May, and that's when we'll see all the big changes. But there are signs of life already, so come on, let's go and have a little nosy round the garden. After a cuddle with Poppy first. Hey Poppy. Little purr machine. Aren't you a gorgeous little purr machine? Come on, let's get down the garden. It's been so warm that the grass has been growing like mad. So it's just had its first strim and trim of the year. Doesn't it look gorgeous? Just having this amount of green so early in the year, it's beautiful, especially in this morning light. Oh, lush. It's not quite Wimbledon, it's not quite crown green bowling, but for me it's deeply pleasing to have all my beds surrounded by such gorgeous green, and of course, as I always say, it is a living path, all sorts of life in there. Yay! Right then, bed number one. Let's start at the very beginning. I showed you these a couple of days ago, but look, my tulips are coming up. Thank you, Mama. And the poached eggplant is romping away. I haven't sown any flower seeds yet, apart from the sweet peas, because it really is quite too early. That's the verbena coming back to life. Can you see right in there? No sign of the tree lily yet. I wouldn't expect that. Of course I wouldn't expect that. But that's somewhere under all that straw that I'm just using as a mulch. I wouldn't expect to see signs of the tree lily until mid-March, beginning of April. So the last of my cabbages, some of them have hearted up beautifully. Oh, I've got scraps of bits of leaves on from where I was mulching the other day. Some of them have hearted up beautifully. Others want to be, let me show you this one, a flower. But never mind, the leaves are all still gorgeous. And I finally started getting all this leaf mulch onto the beds. So despite strimming, there are still some bits which are quite chunky. But where it did strim down, I think it will rot much more quickly. Well, it's bound to rot much more quickly. So yeah, the cabbage bed is now mulched, as is the empty part of the carrot bed. Still got quite a few carrots in to harvest. Some of them are jumping out of the ground. Look at them. Some absolute whoppers in there. And in here, oh, let me see if I can show you in here without falling over. Yeah, there's tons in there still. Lovely, lovely, lovely. This end here should have had a bean trench put in. So that's note to self for next year. When I'm harvesting my carrots, harvest nearest the path first so I can make a bean trench. But otherwise, all the bean trenches are in now. It's so bright, it's actually hard to make things out, isn't it? So, oh, hello Poppy, having a little sun bath under the cavolo. So yeah, as I said, that's also mulched. The cavolo nero, the top part of the bed is mulched, but I ran out of, juice in my strimmer battery to do any more. I'll show you the mess I've left shortly. But the cavolo nero is still coming, gorgeous stuff. However, because of all this warmth, look at that. It's crazy, it's sprouting already. I wouldn't expect to see sprouts on my cavolo nero until, gosh, end of March into April. But yeah, that's what the warmth has done. That's fine, I'll eat them. Combination of the cavolo nero and cabbages will keep me going for another, oh gosh, easily, I would have thought another month. So the bean trenches are gradually filling up with any sort of organic matter, bits of rubbish as I'm tidying. So for instance, when I trimmed the edges of the paths, all the trimmings have gone in there, bits of cardboard, some random leaves, bits of weeds, absolutely anything. You can see how warm it's been, can't you, by how baked the soil looks already. So I've also had out of here the last of the celeriac and celery. Celeriac is so tiny that actually by the time I've peeled it and cut off its gnarly roots, there's very, very little left. But I've chopped what I've got in the freezer to make some soups with at a later date. I just didn't have time to make any soups on this occasion, so yeah, they just all went in the freezer. And this will get a mulch too. I think I've got enough leaves left to do it. Actually, I thought I had way more leaves, but as soon as you start strimming them, look at this gorgeous light. Yeah, as soon as you start strimming them, it feels like there's nothing. And I went to the little lane where I'd found a load of those oak leaves, and the street cleaners have been along and taken them all. So yeah, this bed's going to be a priority to get mulched pronto. I don't want it to bake. I also don't want it to get pelted with rain, because we are due some rain. I think what I'll do is I'll do some communal mowing and hopefully get that covered. This bed, no change in it, other than obviously more bean trenches. But it's all looking ready to go. The broad beans, obviously I rejigged the netting, because I don't know how, but all the bean poles had gone wonky and gotten mashed up. Let me come the other side. So the ones that are growing fine. But look at that. It's crazy. Starting to flower. These flowers started to appear probably about 24th of February. No sign yet of any of my second sowings, my spring sowings. Oh well, what will be will be. So yet again, more bean trenches. As you can see, just it's kind of useful at this time of year, sort of tidying the yellowing brassica leaves, bits and bobs that are coming out of the ground. Just literally chuck it in all those trenches and then pour the soil back over them in about May, if it hasn't baked to concrete. Oh my goodness, that's the only problem with doing the trenches, obviously, is I've now got this exposed soil. Never mind, it's not too much of it. I've still got some, let's go over and have a look. I've still got some gorgeous chard on the go, and a couple of days ago, lovely Michelle in the States sent me a recipe. It's a Greek recipe. It's sort of like a bean stew, rather like I make my fasolada, but it also includes chard. So what a lovely way it will be to use up some of this gorgeous stuff. I just love chard. It just never knows when to give up. It just keeps going and going and going and going. Such a lovely leafy veg to have over winter as a change from the brassicas. Not that I ever get tired of brassicas, but it is a nice change every now and again from all that kind of bitter, earthy brassica taste. And speaking of brassicas, the purple sprouting broccoli is doing great. Actually, let's come the sunny side. It's massive, and I'm getting my first sprouts coming. Beautiful. Tons of sprouts on that one. So I'm sure I've mentioned this before, but I'll just mention it again. One of the lovely things about this purple sprouting broccoli, this winter variety, is that as and when all your brassicas start to be over and you're thinking, what am I going to eat before May, before other things start growing, you've got all this gorgeous stuff. Yum. Garlic are looking absolutely fine. It's one of those things, isn't it? You never know what's going on underneath until you dig them up. But from what's showing on top, they look perfectly healthy and fine. Of course, I got this bed mulched 2-3 weeks ago now. I'm so glad I did, because when I got it done, the ground was really moist. So hopefully getting this mulch on has locked some of that moisture in to protect it from the last sort of 2 weeks of baking we've had. Nothing going on in either of these beds still. That's all just composting merrily away. The last of the few parsnips, teeny tiny they are. I might just have them all out in one go and cook up a big batch of something, because they have been coming out really tiddly. Hopefully this year I might have a little bit better luck. It's the first year that or last year should I say, because these were planted last year, but it's the first year that I've struggled with parsnips. So I don't know whether it was the weather, quite what, but I certainly haven't given up. Coming over to the herb bed, as you saw a couple of videos ago, that's all had a tidy up. The path is now in, which makes life considerably more easy for getting in and out. I'm going to wait a little while to see what comes up from last year, but what I'm really liking is this thyme I put in. And what I'm thinking is, see how we go this summer, but any other bare patches I might just put more thyme in as a ground cover, because it works really well. Oh, let me give you an update on the rhubarb. Hang on a sec, coming back this way. I'm going to use my path, because that's what it's, that's what it's there for, my Rosetta stepping stone. Come on to the path. Now, what I might do with the rhubarb is I might uncover it for a while. I'm going to talk about that in another video, but there we go. There we go. Can you see? Loads of lovely shoots. There's about 5 shoots down there, all looking perfectly healthy. And I remember when I planted it last year, everyone was, well, not everyone, loads of people said, oh, you've planted it wrong, it'll rot. Well, there you go, naysayers, it didn't rot. It's sprouting away quite happily and looking very healthy in there. Yeah, I'm gonna uncover that, and I'm just gonna talk a little bit about it in a separate video. Right, let's get out of the herb bed without going flying. The sweet peas are looking really well. No signs of the ones I planted last week, but give them a chance. I need to turn the trays around, they're bending a bit. The salad leaves I planted, they've all germinated quite happily. The crazy thing is I've been having to water these a bit over the last 2 weeks. Who'd have thought it? Watering in the last 2 weeks of February. Wunderbar. Then, actually let me come around the other way out of the sun. It's so bright, but the shadows are still really long because it is still winter officially. But you can see this had a really, really hard cut back the other day. I mean, it was, you can probably see the shadow on the grass almost. It was right out here. So yes, that was quite a severe pruning. But it always comes back. I say that, I might have jinxed myself this time. And it occurred to me the other day, I was talking about that it shouldn't work here because this is the north end of the garden. The ground is wet and heavy here, blah, blah, blah. But perhaps one of the reasons it does work is it gets some warmth via the cold frame. Yes. Look at these beautiful little flowers appearing, which the bees love. There are a few bees around, and the other day I saw my first butterfly of the year. Gorgeous. So, the back end of the plot, the messy bit at the moment, you can see I've moved my circular bin over there to get at the last of the leaves that were in it. And then what I did was I dumped out the other ton bag of leaves here just while I was processing them. And that's all I've got left. It's not the biggest pile of leaves, is it? That will hopefully finish mulching the Cavolo or maybe a little bit of the old celeriac bed. But yeah, this is my state of the path. It's covered in leaf detritus. This is my messy corner for a while. It's a working garden. There's got to be a mess somewhere. Look at the Taunton Dean. Oh, that looks very happy again. Yeah, definitely hasn't died over winter. New little sprouts all over. Delightful. My goodness, this sun actually has quite a lot of warmth to it. And the other day I was also showing you this sprout, which I don't know what it is, but I'm guessing that it's the sweet Sicily. So hooray! But just looking over there, you see that pebble, that white pebble I've just picked out? That's supposed to be where my lovage is. There's absolutely no signs of it, so, well, it's only February. I'm not in a hurry to restock or anything like that. We'll just see how it all goes. But look at this fennel, isn't it gorgeous? I love the vibrancy. Hang on, I'm just going to try and get closer. I love the vibrancy of its shapes. Just the most gorgeous acid green. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Otherwise, yeah, the herb bed is looking a bit empty and bedraggled at the moment. I also noticed that the French lavender over here seems to have fared considerably less well than the English lavender. Let me come the other side so you can see it in the light. Oh, light, but then shadow. Yeah, the English lavender on this side seems to look much happier than the French lavender. Now, I don't know, the French lavender came from, it's just a street seller, so it just may not have been quite such good stock. But hopefully they'll plump up and do something this year for me. I mean, they did flower last year, just not as prolifically as the English lavender. And the deck, this end of the deck, yeah, still a dumping ground. Yeah, everything needs now to sort of get put into place, because it's a bit calm now, and it will be mostly calm for the rest of March. But then we get into April, and then we get into the madness of spring sowings. Oh, I just can't wait. I cannot wait. But never mind waiting. In the meantime, I'm just so grateful to have this space and to have these beautiful, beautiful days like today. Little pops of colour here and there. Little differences in texture, the brick path, the wood of the deck. There are so many things to enjoy in the garden, even at this time of year. And while there's not much else going on, I think that's definitely the order of the day. Sit back, listen to the birds, enjoy the warmth, and wait for spring to arrive. So for now, I'm going to say cheerio to you all. Have fun in your gardens, whatever you're up to. I hope the beginning of March means the beginning of the thaw for so many of you who still have snow. Enjoy yourselves, whatever you get up to, and I will see you again really soon, I hope. In the meantime, take care, everyone.